We are one small step closer today to more access to European cheeses. The technical details of who will be permitted to import what products was released. An additional 16,000 tons of cheese will be allowed onto Canadian store shelves. The new Canada-Europe trade deal is set to come into effect in September. So what will all this mean for Canada's cheese industry? Ephraim Pristine is the owner of Toronto-based Cheese Boutique. There's a lot of, it's pretty deep weeds to get into on the technical details of what happened today. But fundamentally, is this good news for people like you and people like me who like cheese?
I think, honestly, I think it is. I think my job as a cheesemonger is to give my clients the best cheese service and the best cheese expectations as possible. And if there are ingredients, i.e. cheese, coming from all over the world, whether it be from Canada, whether it be from France, Italy, or England, that I can service to my customers, I think my job is to make them happy. And I think with cheeses coming from all over the world, I think we're giving them that opportunity.
I mean, I understand the fears and the reticence of people who have been in a protected market, but if there's more cheese out there, there's more people eating, there's more, like, there's a bigger market now, isn't it? Like, we can all get more stuff. This is probably good for some domestic cheese producers, too.
We've never, at my shop, I can speak for, obviously, we've never sold more cheese.
Really?
We've never sold more Canadian cheese than now. We've never sold more European cheese than now. Quality is always going to sell. So in terms of all these products coming in, we still don't know of kind of what level it's going to be. Is it going to be lower level? Is it going to be higher level? We don't know. But I think ultimately we have to give that opportunity to the customer to choose.
Right.
And I think this is really coming about because there's a demand for it. And I think we have to offer that supply.
There's more demand. There will now be more supply starting in September. Will it be cheaper?
We don't know, and I think that's kind of something still up in the air. Canadians will pay, and I think Canadians will pay for good quality and good quality service.
Right.
So for me, it's I even brought a couple of statistics.
You've got some stats
right? So as soon as I knew I was coming on board here today for CBC, I did some homework. So in the month of June at the Cheese Boutique, okay, we sold the best Gouda money can buy from Holland, which is retailing at $60 a kilo. We sold 48 kilos of it. Something of equal kind of comparison made here in New Hamburg, Ontario, just a couple hours away. We sold a 2-year-old Gouda, very similar in comparison, in my opinion, as good quality. We sold 72 kilos worth, about 25% more, and it retails for the same price. So for me, I don't think Canadian cheesemakers, dairy farmers, should be afraid because of some of these statistics. And I can go on and on. And those dairy farmers that are worried, they have to remember that there's people like myself and other great retailers across the country that want to promote Canadian product.
Right.
Not because it's Canadian, and I'm a proud Canadian, but because it's very good. And because we are making world-class product, we should be very proud. And I don't think we should be very scared.
Well, and I've been to your shop, I've been to others like it, where you do get, like, the difference between going to Sobeys and buying some cheese off the shelf and going to a shop like yours is the people know what they're talking about. They give you a taste and they try it out. They're always sort of telling me, here's the one from Holland, but here's the one from Canada. It's just as good as from down the road. And it allows us to choose. And at the end of the day, I think that's what's important.
The most important person isn't the importer, isn't the retailer, isn't the dairy farmer. I'm sorry, the most important person is the consumer. Because without the consumer, we're not even talking about this.
Right.
So for me, we have about 450 cheeses on our counter. Canada represents my counter more than any other single country. We have about 100 cheeses coming from Canada, an entire fridge, a 12-foot cooler dedicated to Canadian cheese. Not because it's Canadian, but because it's amazing product. And I think that's something we really have to kind of take pride in.
Right.
Let's stop being so humble as Canadians and be proud of what we're making.
I want to just quickly explain what happened today. What they announced today was who in Canada can import this stuff. That some of it will be domestic cheesemakers and some of it will be importers. Is that basically it?
Yes, I think it's about
half and half.
I think it's about 50-50. I heard kind of 60-40 as well with the dairy farmers here in Canada getting 60. I still think there's a lot up in the air.
Right.
I still think kind of I's need to be dotted and T's need to be crossed. But ultimately, a lot of importers, a lot of the bigger guys are going to have access to more product from Europe to bring into Canada.
But the reason I ask about what happened today is because here we are, the 1st of August. This thing kicks in
Soon.
like 51 days or something.
Yeah.
Are we going to be ready? Like, is the documentation ready? Are the permits ready? Are we actually there yet?
I think as consumers, I think we're ready. As a retailer, I'm ready. But at the end of the day,
because you've got some permits to bring in.
We
right?
do, okay? Very, very little. But we also act as a wholesaler and a retailer. I'm on the floor and I'm listening to what the consumer wants as well. Every day of my life, this is what I do. And I think ultimately, just like everyone else, I play by the rules.
Right.
So if someone tells me this rule is this right now, we have to play by the rules and we have to adapt, right? It's business. At the end of the day, I think it's business, and I think Canadian cheese is going to go a long way.
But does it mean necessarily, and you know, the reason I sort of want to get a little bit into the weeds on what happened today is, for a business like yours, you're going to be importing some of this stuff. Do you have the paperwork ready to do that? Is that stuff available? If they're still only just finalizing the negotiations, how far behind, how long does it take that trickle down?
We've been working on it for a while now.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been kind of on the table as of a couple of years. I think 2 years in the... I think it'll be 2 or 3 years now in November coming up. So we've been kind of diligent, just because, again, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to these new rules. I think we're a leader. I say it humbly, but I think we're a leader here in Ontario to sell cheese. So I want to be up at the forefront, and I want to be ready for it, and we are ready for it.
Well, it's going to be fun to see what happens in September. It's great to see you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Avram Pristine is the owner of the Cheese Boutique.